Hello there, my name is PolishLynx, and this is the next episode of the sad story of Emmeline Burns. And basically we now have her story said to us, so let's go with it. Emmeline Burns, born in 1836 to Philip and Perdita Burns, led a charmed life. Her family was rather well-to-do, her grandfather being a lawyer, her father a banker, and she grew up in a large house with 5 bedrooms on the outskirts of Barrowby. Given her father's profession, he was often away in London on business, but this did not upset Emmeline. She was old enough to understand that her father needed work so they could afford her nice house and her fine clothes, and the ribbons she wore in her hair, so she did not complain. Though she did not see her father for months at a time, when he returned home it was always with a present for Emmeline and a kiss on her cheek, and it was as though he had never been away at all. Philip was a kind man, though he may not have been a paragon of manly virtues. He's the runt of the litter. If he were a pig, we would have drowned him in the well. Grandmother Patience always gripped. He was not naturally predisposed to the world of financing. He did have a good head on his shoulders, and he was relatively intelligent. Not even Grandmother Patience could deny that. It was through his quick wits rather than his magnetic charisma, of which he was sorely lacking, that Philip had been able to expand upon the Burns family's fortune, as he had invested a good deal of their money into the stock market. Emmeline really loved her father, despite his lack of presence in her life, or maybe because of it. They do say, after all, that absence makes the heart grow fonder. Even when Philip was not at home, Emmeline had a great deal to busy herself with, and she was never bored or lonely. She would help her mother with her embroidery, or exchange idle gossip with the servants, or go for long walks about the countryside eating blackberries from the hedgerows and snagging her dress on brambles. Emmeline's long-suffering governess, Helena Warren, certainly had her hands full when it came to disciplining her rowdy pupil. Though Emmeline was not unintelligent, she had been born with the disposition of a sea captain or a polar explorer, and she was physically incapable of sitting still for 5 minutes. And, well, that's not actually something weird for a kid, let's face it. I feel like right now it's, well, telling that they have some issues. But that's not really true. Kids are not patient, let them run around. Well, maybe not like to destroy everything around, but you know. Or I mean, probably. I don't have no kids, so I shouldn't probably talk about it. Never mind. That is, unless she was with Cornelia Linton. Emmeline and Cornelia had known one another since they were both babies, and they were almost inseparable. They spent most of their waking hours together, sitting by the lakeside in the Lintons' private estate. They would stare out across the untroubled waters which carried along with its lily pads, reeds and fish with shimmering scales, and they would talk, sipping raspberry lemonade. Everyone in Barrowby knew that the lake in the Lintons' estate belonged to Cornelia and Emmeline. They had claimed it through the countless hours they had whiled away by those grassy banks, feeding the fish and dipping their bare toes into the water. The lake was their private land, a secret garden everyone knew of, but nobody would intrude upon. And so it was that Emmeline and Cornelia spent the summer months together, basking under the sunshine. She looks similar to her. So, how's your embroidery coming along? Cornelia pouted, giving Emmeline a light shove in the shoulder. Oh, please do not ask me about my embroidery. You know better than anybody how dreadful I am at it. I have no hand-eye coordination whatsoever. Emmeline giggled, returning Cornelia's shove with one of her own. I do not understand how you can be that terrible at sewing. Nelly, it is hardly a science. It may be simple for you, but it is not for me. Engaging in an activity I have no talent for is incredibly disheartening, and I keep poking myself with the needle. Oh, let me see. What? No! Cornelia's pout deepened, and she held her hands behind her back, attempting to hide them. Why do you want to see my friends anyway? Do you want to gloat? Me? Gloat? I would never! I just want to see the wounds that have been dealt to you despite your best efforts, my dear Cornelia, so I may applaud you for your bravery. Forgive me for being so cynical, but I expect you might be making fun of me. Well, of course I will forgive you. You cannot help your cynicism, given your father fancies himself as a philosopher. It must run in your family. Indeed he does. Our library is full of Hegel and Kant, so I doubt he understands it. Mother says he just wants to show off at dinner parties. How is he able to show off if he cannot understand the material he speaks of? It is nothing more than a bluster. Mother says pretense is one of the key traits a man must possess if he wishes to be successful in this world. My father is an earnest man. He would not lie if his life depended on it, especially not about philosophy. And that is why my mother worries about you, Emmeline. She has said as much before. She need not concern herself with my family. We may not be as rich as you, but what we lack in wealth we make up for with raw talent. Are you saying I have no talent? I'm saying it is somewhat sad that a 14-year-old girl such as yourself still cannot sew a single comforter. Cornelia had let her guard slip as she pondered her father's ill-fated attempts to ingratiate himself with the intelligentsia of the age, tried to obscure her hands behind her back once more, but it was already too late. What are you doing, Emmy? I'm examining your hands, as I said I would, and oh dear! Emmeline tooted and shook her head, her fingers linked together with Cornelia's. They are such beautiful hands with such smooth skin, yet they are marked all over with red dots. It appears as though you've been used as a human pincushion. I already told you, Amy, I have no skills when it comes to sewing. Why must you tease me so? I was not teasing you, I was honoring your efforts. That is a bold-faced lie, and we both know it. If you had an ounce of respect for me, you would not be smiling like that. Like what? Like that! Now let go of me! But Emmeline did not. Instead, she continued to stand there, skirts fluttering about her legs, attempting to peer into Cornelia's grumpy face with undisguised amusement. Emmy, I told you to let go. Why do you never listen to me? Because seeing you blush is so much fun, of course. Emmy! If Cornelia had the use of both her hands, perhaps she would have struck the top of Emily's head for her insolence. As it was, she did not, and all she could do was glare. Glare and blush. Cornelia blushed a lot. That was one of the downsides of having such fair skin. That, and when she poked herself with the sewing needle, as she was so prone to doing, the red welts that resulted stood out starkly against her milky complexion. Why are you acting so coy, Nelly? I know you enjoy my company, really. Be that as it may, you are behaving rather childishly right now, and I have no desire to indulge your whims. Honestly? Even if those whims are your own as well? Well, Cornelia let her head hang, her face turning just a shade darker. This was not the first time that the two girls had held hands. They had been friends ever since they were small, and they were not unfamiliar with the sensation of the other's skin. In fact, they were more well versed with one another's bodies than one might have expected. What does it mean? Though their mothers would have scolded them for the unladylike manner with which they comported themselves when left alone by the lakeside, they would have been scandalized to learn of the other, of more intimate actions that had taken place between the two girls. It had only been a month or so ago when, drunk on the lazy heat of the encroaching summer, the two girls had slowly, lackadaisically shared their first kiss. Not a kiss on the cheek or the temple as they had done during their babyhood, but a true kiss typically shared between adults of the opposite sex. Neither of them knew who had instigated the kiss, or why they had lingered for so long in such manner. Their lips pressed together, but both agreed after the fact that they had liked it. It had just felt right. As such, without giving those moments of intimacy too much thought, the two girls had continued to display their affection for one another in such manner all through the summer of 1851. Oh man, we are close to that moment. It may have been uncommon for two women to exchange such kisses and caresses, but what of it? Why should they not kiss one another if they wanted to? The lakeside was their own private haunt, their secret garden, and nothing could intrude upon them there, not even so-called common decency. That was another question. Why should it be indecent? Emmeline did not understand. She loved Cornelia, and Cornelia loved her. And was that not enough? Well, people probably in these times would not accept it too much. For they don't accept people being with other people as of the same sex. That sure is a problem. I don't really get why would you find it problematic, actually. Woman likes woman? Fine. Guy likes guy? Fine. Just accept it. Even it was not enough for the rest of the world, it was more than enough for her. You know, you really are beautiful. Do you honestly think so? Of course, I thought so from the moment I was old enough to understand what beauty is. You are one of the loveliest people I've ever seen. Is that why you like me then? Because you think I'm pretty? Maybe. We humans are frail beings. Isn't your father proof enough of that? How cruel, Amy! If you are only kissing me because you think I'm pretty, then perhaps I should reevaluate the nature of our relationship. You're nothing more than a rake. You are even worse than that awful Wedgwood boy. You would compare me to Aubrey Wedgwood? My dear Cornelia, I am wounded. I'm nothing at all like that boorish foop. Well, I wonder, he can be awfully insistent too. It is not fitting for a young woman. Of course it is not fitting. Did you know he even indignant to take my hand during your mama's garden party last week? Honestly? Indeed, I would have slapped him, Nelly, had his mother not happened upon us. Did she scold him? Lady Wedgwood? Of course not. Dead bitch! Emmeline spat on the ground and did not even have the courtesy to wipe her mouth with a handkerchief afterwards. Under normal circumstances, Cornelia would have scolded Emmeline, but on this score she relented. Think about Aubrey Wedgwood often made her want to spit too. She dotes on that spoiled son of hers. Why, she probably believes him to be second coming of Christ, for he flirts with every single woman in the village, old or young. You see, Nelly, I'm nothing like Aubrey. I would rather die than become a rover like him. My feelings for you, my dear Cornelia, are molded from a different cast. You've captured my heart with your ephemeral beauty, and now my eyes can wander no further. You are my sweet red rose, newly sprung in June. Well, Cornelia flustered, for she was by Emily's teasing had enough wits about her to recognize that line. Are you quoting poetry at me now, Emmy? Indeed. Did you know that my love is like the melody, sweetly played in tune? Don't be an idiot! If you wish to serenade me, you could at least write a poem of your own. But I know you appreciate it, really. In all honesty, I think you are being rather foolish. I cannot help myself, for I really do love you, Cornelia. I love you so. Sometimes I fear I may go mad. What do you know of madness? I know, when you are not by my side, I miss you hard. I miss you horribly, and I find myself counting down the minutes. No, never seconds, until we may be in one another's compound once more. I appreciate your feelings, Emmy. I love you too! Yes! Oh, I got so actually into this story that I forgot the important thing, okay. But I say that's good. If only Emmeline and Cornelia could have continued to spend their time together in so sweet a manner, smiling and laughing, or else bickering pointlessly and making one another pout, yet always parting with words of love and kisses stolen beneath the warm summer sun. Unfortunately, such moments cannot last forever. The splendors of the summer soon faded, and the leaves began to turn brown, and the wind gained a sharp edge that made Emmeline shiver. It was also during the autumn months that Philip Burns returned from home for the first time in half a year. This reunion, however, was not quite as happy as the previous ones had been. Philip Burns had always been a small man, yet he seemed even smaller during that bitingly cold September. He stopped more than usual when he entered rooms, if he entered them at all, for he had now developed the habit of lingering, ghost-like, about the thresholds of his own home, as though afraid of stepping inside. It was almost as though during his 6-month sojourn in London he had lost something crucial to his constitution, his sense of self, or else his soul. Philip's feet were still planted firmly upon the earth, but he was divorced from the world around him. He drifted about aimlessly, like a somnambulist, yet was restless within his dream world, incapable of sitting still for more than 5 minutes at a time. He looked at things without seeing them, ate food without tasting it, held objects without touching them. Once he tried to pick up his glass during dinner, and used so little force it slipped between his fingers, smashing into pieces against the floor. Even when he spoke to Emmeline, it was without any real feeling, like he was reciting words from a play script, and Philip Burns had never been a very good actor. He was not like Cornelia's father, who had so much huff and puff he could have blown down even the brick home built by the most industrious of the 3 little pigs. Philip Burns was far too honest, and that was the worst thing. It was because he was an honest man that Emily knew, for he tried to keep the truth from her. Something was wrong. Something was terribly, terribly wrong. But she did not know what. Alright, maybe we'll find out what was wrong in the next episodes. Hope you enjoyed this one and see you then. Bye.